Habitat builds these houses that are very tangible and it makes really big difference in the lives of families. And what's happened over the past few years is this real focus on creating and building neighborhoods. And that, with the East Parmenter Street neighborhood, really began to shift things and have this ripple out effect of hope, because we provide hope for our families. That neighborhood is a hope, but now that hope is rippling out into the community in a very different way.
I see a lot of young women come in and I can relate to what they're going through. There was someone, I actually worked as a hairstylist, and I eventually opened my own business, which was very good for me. And one of my clients had a lot of faith in me and helped me get a loan. He worked in a bank. And it made a huge difference in my life. My daughter had her own room. I may start crying. My daughter had her own room, so now I see women coming in who are struggling with no one to help them. And everyone in Habitat is in a position to provide assistance to them so that they can also realize that dream.
I've seen families that have gone from just having a minimum wage job to also increasing in their salaries, because it encouraged them that now they can actually reach for other goals. They can plan and attain other things. Because sometimes when you're economically depressed, you're also self-esteem depressed, and you don't think that you can accomplish any goal that you set your mind to. And I think that's one of the most wonderful things about Habitat, that it shows you that you can reach any goal that you want to, as long as you put your mind to it.
There's so many other organizations that are working hard and tirelessly to provide a better future. But I think that when you look at East Parmenter and you think what comes from that, I think that when you look back and say, you know, it started kind of right. And when I say it started there, it started around there, you know? So I think that's a very powerful thing.
Obviously, Habitat's a huge national organization, and they do so much good throughout not just the United States, but throughout the world, really. But then when you get down to the micro level, you can see that even in a town in upstate New York, or rather a city in upstate New York, they do a world of good. So here in the city of Newburgh, I can't think of another organization that does more for the city of Newburgh than Habitat for Humanity.
I personally feel like Habitat is a driving force in the positivity, changing in people with misconceptions of what the community is, into turning into opportunity, growth, you know, a community that works together to change things. Nothing changes overnight, and Habitat has been there from the beginning to kind of slowly bring these incredible things happening. You know, walks, housing, business opportunities for people, jobs, and it's been inspiring for, you know, lots of the Latino community, especially here in Newburgh.
Some of the partner families opened up their homes to us so we could see, you know, I don't always get to see that, you know, working with the books and things like that. So I got to go, actually go and see some of the houses. So you walk down to East Parmenter, which has become our premier location. It's a great neighborhood. You walk down, and all I want to do is what I mentioned earlier, is I want to look at the bedroom that I painted, you know, to just show some effect. But I really am intimidated. It's their home now. It's not my home. So I walk up there, and all of a sudden I see this little 8-year-old kid. He's so proud. He's on his porch there, and he just sort of directs me in the house like he's the king of the castle. And I, you know, so I walk in, I look around, and I come back and I say, "What's your name?" And his name's happened to be Alex also. So it was a nice way that we could sort of break the ice there. But I said, "Thank you for letting me look at the house. You know, it's beautiful. How do you like it here?" He seemed like he was very safe and he's very happy. So I walk out, and they have another house across the street. So I walk across the street, and there's a 15-year-old there, and he's sort of aggravated because we're using what's become his soccer field as our little get-together spot, and he's waiting for that to free up. He has a soccer ball. I said, "Don't worry, we'll be done in a minute. I'm trying to get the people out of there," joking with him. And all of a sudden, little Alex comes running by my leg, and turns out that what I didn't realize is that I wasn't in Alex's house, I was in his neighbor's house, and he felt so comfortable in the city of Newburgh to go across the street, and you just have that old neighborhood feel that I think that we're trying to bring back, and it was pretty touching. So
we're all mothers, we're all aunts, we're nurturers, and when we heard that you know, folks needed homes, and most of us grew up in a house, and you take that for granted. And this was just something that worked. You knew where the money went, you knew what it was for, you knew where you were helping a mother, a father, kids, and it was a win-win situation.
Like before, it was like, because of the way it looked, my old house, it was like it looked like abandoned, and when I walked in, I didn't want people to know like I live there. But then when I got my Habitat house, my family, when I walk out there, I can be like, yeah, this is where I live, like this is my house, I can bring my friends over.
I was living in Guinea Avenue in a pretty old house. The heater wasn't working, the hot water wasn't working all the time, so I was lucky if I was able to get hot water some days. So it feels nice to come back home and open the door, like see that you have a pretty new kitchen, pretty new bathroom, everything new. It feels amazing.
Even though I was going through the process, I still had hesitation because I had already been conditioned that when something good happens, something bad is gonna happen. So I was very skeptical about a lot of the different things that were going on, how they're gonna do this, how am I gonna do that. Not only after I got into it took I think it was a year, or 2 years, before I finally realized, this is my house. This is my house. This is really my house.